a short video for you that sort of high level explains who we are, what we do. It walks you through some of the software, some of the bells, the whistles. It gets into the marketing product, what that looks like, and sort of explains and ties it all together. After that's over, I'll come back and then we'll get into sort of this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, COVID coming back world that we live in. I think there's some very interesting data that sort of emerged over the course of the weekend, and then we're going to get into the best part, which is the questions and answers, the Q&A from you guys. Love to hear about where you are in your business. Have you tried selling your art or your photography? Have you been selling for years? Did you have offline sources that were working pre-COVID and now you're looking for online sources? Love to just sort of hear about where you are in your journey, and then we can get into it. So on that note, I'll see you guys shortly. Go ahead and take it away, Taylor.
All right, everybody, welcome to today's session. My name's Taylor. I'm on the marketing team at Art Storefronts, one of the people putting together our many resources and consulting and mentoring our members on a regular basis in workshops like these. Today's session is for non-members, so this is a free, wide open session, and how it's a little bit different than what you get as a member. Our member workshops, which we hold 5 times a week at this point on various topics, are largely tactical, right? So it's giving our members ongoing advice, tweaks to their strategy, checking in with them, seeing how far they've gotten since we last spoke, and making sure their business is always growing. By contrast, today will be largely about what we call unclogging the drain. Before you're even ready for tactical or strategic advice, you need to get the big thing out of the way. And we found through these non-member workshops that most artists and photographers out there have something. They have a big thing in their way. It can be a mindset problem, some kind of self-limiting belief that if you just simply do away with it, the path becomes clear. Or it could be something more practical, like not doing something that you really need to be doing. Whatever it is, we're going to find out about it today and fix it for you. Before we get into all that good stuff, I have 2 segments for you up top here, opening remarks. The first one, stuff you need to know about this workshop, how it works. The second, a little bit of an overview on Art Storefronts, just to get some context, set the stage, who we are and what we do. First up, the need to know information about today's workshop. To get in line to chat with us, right? To get unmuted and start to get some help, you need to use the raise hand button in Zoom. So at the bottom of your Zoom window, you'll see the participants button. You're going to hit that, and that'll open this on the right-hand side, where you'll find the blue raise hand button. You hit that, and that will do it. Raise hand. You'll see up here, your name will show the blue raise hand button. That's the system we use. We go top to bottom, unmuting everyone that has their hand raised and helping them out. So if you have a question up front, you want to talk to us, you can do that right now and get early in line, so you'll be one of the first people to get some help today. If something comes up later and you don't have a question yet, but something comes to mind, you can always do it later in the session too. The second thing you need to know is that we have a page that we call the show notes. And that's where we aggregate all of the links to resources that come up today. So if one of us says we have a really good video about that, or we say we actually have a podcast episode that would help you out, you don't need to be hunting around for that in the moment. We're doing that for you. We're collecting it all. Here's what the page looks like. We're going to send this to you after today's session ends. We're going to email it to you. So you'll find the replay at the top. Right, so if you have to leave early or you arrived late, or even if you missed it altogether, you can always catch up with the replay here. And then this is the show notes section I was talking about. All the links will be there, everything that came up. So you'll have that. Don't worry about looking anything up. In the moment, we're taking care of it. I should also mention on this page while you're here, there are a couple of request a demo buttons. Those are your go-to spots for either signing up if you just want to get going, or reaching out to us, having a more in-depth chat about our features and our pricing and stuff like that. That's how you start those conversations. If you just want to do your research and get to know us, see if there's a good fit, you hit the request a demo button, you fill out the form, and we'll get in touch. That's how you do that. Okay, second segment today, what even is Art Storefronts, okay? So here is the very quick overview. And like I said, the demo is where they go in depth. They'll do an hour for you. They'll answer as many questions as you have. But today, I don't know how many people here already know everything about us, nothing about us. So I'll just go right down the middle and do a very quick overview. There are 2 halves to Art Storefronts. There is the website software, right? So that is the art selling website. And then there's the marketing program, and that is really the fuel for that website engine. The website could be fantastic. We believe it's the best website software for artists ever designed. We really believe that, and I'll show you why in a moment. However, all of the power of that website is meaningless if there's no one on it. So the marketing program is what completes the whole membership. I'll show you both halves now, starting with the website. There are hundreds of features. It is very difficult to give you a full overview of everything that's going on with this software. So I think I will just show you what's really most important, right? The product page. At the end of the day, everything on your website is designed around getting people here to the product page where then they can check out and buy your artwork. So what is the big deal with these product pages? To explain that, let's just clarify that I'm showing you an artwork product page today. That's the important one. We also have what we call standard product pages, and that's where you can sell anything. If you have ceramics, jewelry, clothing, you can sell all of those product types on art storefronts. It does not need to be solely wall art. But I want to show you the wall art product page because there's an important thing to get straight here. These pages are set up specifically to sell wall art. That's in contrast to a website provider like Squarespace that has to have their product pages work for all product types, whether you're selling artwork or toilet paper or electric scooters, right? It works for everything, which creates a master of none situation when it comes to their features. They have not considered artwork in particular, so they have not addressed the problems, the challenges with selling artwork online like we have. The big deal with selling artwork online is that there is a lot of friction. It is not a product like toilet paper or electric scooters where you want what it does and you find the one that you like and you buy it. It's a little more complicated than that. Buying art is an emotional journey. You fall in love with the work. You get to know the artist through their emails and their social media posts. You save up for it. Eventually you get the wall space open, but even then you have questions like which piece should I select and how is it going to look with my wall paint color? How's it going to work with the other pieces of artwork in my collection? Will my spouse like it? How do I show it to them in the best way? What are the media types available? I've never heard of this word acrylic. Is that worth looking into? What size is going to work for my space? I don't want it to look too small or of course too big. All of these questions are where you lose sales. People have those questions. Your website does not answer them and they never get it answered. They leave. You cannot rely on people reaching out to you actively to ask these questions, right? Your website needs to passively answer them for you all the time. Whenever that question comes up, whichever one it is, your website comes in and says, oh, here you go. Got the help for you right here. Problem solved. Keep going. Keep making the purchase, right? That is what maximizes art sales. Let's start by just looking at the layout of the page. Image on the left, buying options on the right. Not below, not somewhere down the page you need to scroll to find. Everything is visible on one screen and it's all expanded. There's not drop downs. Everything is image based. This is like the express lane to checking out artwork online. Beyond that, you can offer every version of an image side by side. The open edition prints are right here. With one click, you can start shopping the limited edition prints, signed and numbered, highest quality, that sort of thing. With another click, you're over to the original version of that image. If the original is available, you could step up and buy it right here. Finally, the multi-panel. This is where you break up a single image into 3 prints, right? So it's a huge upsell. You turn one print sale into 3, very sleek and modern presentation. I love that one. If you don't offer one of these media types, like you're a photographer, so you don't have originals, you wouldn't have this tab on your website. This is just showing all the possible options, but you'll set it up to whatever you actually offer. So if you don't have limited editions, it's gone. It's not on your actual site. It adapts to what you actually sell. Within these, let's look at the open edition prints. Now, the big challenge there is explaining the media types. The average art consumer does not know terms like canvas gallery wrap, giclée print, metal, acrylic. They don't know what these look like. They don't know what they are. So it becomes difficult to make a smart decision until they do. So the website's job is to educate them very quickly and visually. So here's how we've done that. When you click on one of the media types, the preview over on the left-hand side adapts in a subtle way. So this adds a little bit of virtual depth to this image because we selected the canvas option. That clues people in, oh, this is that traditional thick gallery look. Beyond that, maybe they don't know what metal is, you can hover on these tooltips here, the little question marks, and then you can launch a video. These are custom videos we've produced just for our members that show every angle of these media types and summarize the benefits. They're about 15 seconds long, and they instantly create that connection of, oh, that is what I want. Very powerful. Beyond those buying tools, you have the visualization tools. This is for questions like, I love the piece, I know I want it on metal, I'm just not sure if it's really gonna look good in my space, or how large I should buy. That's where the visualization tools come in. Wall preview is the starter there. You can select a room type, and you can get going very quickly, a good representation of what size you need, right? So let's step it up, the 30, that looks good. The 32 looks even better, right? You're stepping it in. We've got wall color here. These aren't random. These are the top selling paint colors from last year from Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams. So there's a high likelihood your buyers will actually find their real wall color right in here. Very simple, very fast. So this helps clear up some of those questions, but we take it to the next level with live room preview. You can see the button here, and also on the product page right here, live preview AR. This is an augmented reality tool that allows people to use their mobile or tablet device to visualize the artwork on their actual wall, not a virtual space, not a hypothetical wall, their actual wall space. So you can see in this video here, it projects it onto their wall. They can start to select the sizing and see how everything looks. They can move it around the wall space, and now there is no translation problem, right? It is not close to their wall color or whatever. It is their real actual space. The most powerful part of this feature, because other websites have this type of functionality via an app. Ours works in the web browser. There is no downloading and installing an app. They're right in the checkout process. They pop open this tool. It works on their phone. They close the tool once they're happy, and they continue checking out. That is the game-changing part of it. So overall, I think that does a good job of summarizing a few of the features of the product page here, but that is your drop in the bucket overview. It goes on and on. Art Buyer AI recognizes and informs you when a likely collector has visited your site. We have tools that allow you to fire off very quick emails to welcome personally new subscribers, to reach out when someone has added something to their cart but not checked out, right? Give you a shot to close that sale. The features really go on and on, QR codes, selling sheets. I couldn't possibly summarize it today. Request a demo if you want to see a little bit more, but that is the engine. The Ferrari in your driveway. Let's talk about the fuel that goes in it, the marketing program. Of course, when it comes to artists, you guys do not want to be marketing. I understand that completely. You want to be creating the work and selling it. That's it. But the in-between step is very necessary, and it is marketing. So let's talk about how we make that process as painless as possible while still getting you doing the work that you must do to grow a small business. The centerpiece to our marketing program, where it all comes back to, is the art marketing calendar. That is the core piece. Everything else just supports this. The marketing calendar is a daily plan that tells you exactly what to do every single day of the year. It provides you with all the email language you'll need to pull off sales, a Black Friday sale, something like that. And it gives you the advice that you need to turn your casual followers into leads. That's people on your email list. Your leads into first-time buyers, and your buyers into lifelong repeat collectors. We walk you through it on a daily basis. It is not overwhelming. It is not a knowledge base where you need to watch 55 videos and then just implement what they said. All you need to do is look at today. We're on Wednesday. What do they say to do? I have 3 tasks to complete. It should take me about 30 minutes. Let's do it. 3 tasks. 1, 2, 3, knocked it out. You have done what you need to do for your business today. It's that simple. Let's look at what this thing is. So up top, attention newbies. This is a section with 4 steps we want our new members to complete before they get down to the full calendar. Some highlights here. We have a workshop every Wednesday where our marketing team will look at your new Art Storefronts website, go through the major pages, and make sure that it's set up according to best practices from a marketing point of view, right? So before you even launch, you make sure you're going to be closing every possible sale. We also have a campaign, a 14-day campaign that we want all all new members to execute. It's just like the calendar. It tells you what to do day by day. Post this message on Facebook and post this message on Instagram and send this email. Very simple to follow. And that campaign is themed around celebrating your new website in a way that will generate you some leads and maybe some sales too right up top. So we ask everyone to do that before getting into the calendar with everyone else. Below the newbie section, we have the live workshop schedule that has your look at what's coming up this week, when you can join us in Zoom in our members-only workshops. We have some announcements that go here. We have a strategic overview, step 3. This section is written by our CEO and our director of marketing, and in it, they give you their advice, what they would do if they were running your business this month, where your head should be at, right? So the calendar below is your daily bit-by-bit look. This section is the high-level overview, what you should be thinking about your major goals for the month. And then you have the calendar itself. You can see it's day by day. We have a bit of hierarchy here where we put the most important tasks in red and everything else in black. Nothing goes on here that's not important to do, right? So the black tasks are not unimportant. It's just that if you have very limited time, you have family obligations, a part or full-time job, and you can't get to the entire calendar, no problem. Do the red stuff first, and then if you have extra time, do the black tasks. Most people have no problem completing 75% or more of the calendar, though. It's not a huge obligation because we do so much of the work up front for you in terms of writing the subject lines you should be sending and giving you lots of examples whenever anything needs to be created. It's day by day. You've got the major task of the day, and then you've got Go to Tasks, a button that jumps you down the page to the full explanation of the day. It'll give you an objective for the day and then break down what you need to be doing into tasks. 1, 2, 3, do these things. Very easy to follow. Everything else, like I said, supports this system. So our workshops in general are supporting our members as they're following this calendar. You check in with us, you say, I did the Saturday, Sunday task, and I got these results. What can I do to boost them even further? Or I see next week I need to be doing this, but I don't have my head around it fully yet. Can you talk to me a little bit more about it? All that sort of stuff. We make sure our members are moving together through the calendar all at the same time. When we do something new, right? So we've recently started doing these live art shows. We have a playbook on how to execute a live art show from home, and our members are having some huge successes with this, selling dozens of pieces from home on Instagram or Facebook Live. That is an example of something where after everyone does this together, we have hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people running these live shows simultaneously. Then the following week, we have 6 or 7 or 8 of the people that had the most success with that strategy come on a live workshop for our members and just talk through what they did. We hear out, how did they address it specifically? Was there anything that was a little different than anyone else? How did they see that success? That way all of the members can hear what's working from the other members, and then we go ahead and update all of our playbooks with the new learnings. So there is nothing in this program that is static, that is a dead blog post style article from 6 years ago that may or may not be relevant today. We are updating these things on a weekly basis, checking in with our members. If enough people report that this part didn't work for them, it didn't really seem to do anything, it gets pulled out, right? We are live adjusting all of our resources so that when you join in, you get the learnings of the past several years just baked into everything. So I've talked a lot about how our members interact with us, get mentorship and consulting from us via the workshops, but we also have a venue for them to get help from each other when they need to talk shop or just get input from a whole bunch of artists really quick on a topic like, how do you address shipping? How do you go about some kind of tax situation? All that sort of stuff. The Small Wins Facebook group is the place for that. It's private, just for our members, and that is where they go to ask for help, share their small wins, as we call it, all the little successes that stack up into a successful business. Does anyone know how to patent or copyright a design? Get some help from our members on that. Need to quickly poll a huge group of people that have gotten further than you, right? That already have gotten where you want to go and have the learnings, the quick learnings that they can summarize for you. Between all of these resources that all fall back on the calendar, you have a marketing system that keeps you in line, that keeps you moving, that does not simply present you with 1,000 hours of content and asks you to explore it at your own pace, figure out for yourself which things you should be following and which things you should ignore. This is about the calendar. It's about cutting out all the time you waste thinking about what you should and shouldn't be doing. That is the time saver here, the big game changer. You no longer need to think about all the possible things. We've already done that. We've highlighted what you should be doing, the best return on your time. All right, that is my rant. I was going to say short rant. I know it wasn't short, but it's very difficult to compress everything we have going on into a format like this. So thanks for listening. Again, the website is your engine. The marketing program is the fuel for that engine. So with that said, let's get into the consulting. I think we're all on the same page now, so let's do that drain unclogging I talked about in the beginning. I'll turn it over to our hosts.
All right. Thank you, pre-recorded Taylor. It's interesting as I was watching that after having been off for a couple of days for Thanksgiving, and I realized like, wow, I have to update that pre-recorded video. We've actually come out with quite a few different bells and whistles and features even since then. So that's a positive sign. But I'd love to start with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and talk about that a little bit, and then rant a little bit around that, and then we can start getting into your questions. But if you've been following us for any length of time, we've been banging the drum for a while about how COVID is really one of the greatest things. It's sad to say it this way, but is one of the greatest things that's ever happened to art and photography business at large, and how art and photography is sold. And the data has been pretty clear about what this particular Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Q4 holiday buying season, of which the first half is really, where we are right now, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the few weeks preceding it. And then the second half is sort of the run towards Christmas and just the holiday season. But it looks like it's smashing every single solitary record and then some. And, art and photography as sold direct to customers from your own website, essentially what we advocate as a result of COVID. E-commerce sales have been growing at, a normal, healthy, robust clip and percentage year over year. COVID has just changed the buying habits so significantly. And I've got this other show that I do called the Art Business Morning Show. And I talked about this the other day, but, habits, right? If you get into a new habit, you have to be at it for 21 days. But what do we know about habits? They're very easy to slip back into our old habits, right? I sort of view COVID wave one is the first push towards a habit in which people that were not buying things online are buying things online. People are buying things online and then picking them up at the curb. People are stopping shopping retail, doing more of their stuff online, spending more time in their home. And I feel like now that we're in like wave two of this thing, and certain places are going on lockdown and the infection rates are up, everything else, it really is, it's in a position where it's going to cement these habits like absolute just crazy. And so I couldn't wait till I got into the office today. Who am I kidding? I work from home. My office is never more than a few feet away, but the presumed office today, because the data was going to be in, right? And if you look at like all the current sources, it doesn't matter who, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, this financial thing, that financial thing, whatever it is, they all sort of cite Adobe that makes like Photoshop and Illustrator and all of those. And they have like their own analytics product that a bunch of the bigger merchants use. And so it's like been able to sort of track it and everything else. And I said this in the beginning of the call, but Black Friday, okay, which was Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, second biggest single solitary day for retail e-commerce sales in the United States. The only day that beat it was Cyber Monday last year. Well, today is Cyber Monday. So I imagine once we get the details on that, what that's going to look like is it's the new biggest record, and it's not even close. And I sort of was perusing through all the various different articles, highlights, and wrote some notes. And of course, retail sales are getting hammered, right? Like everyone knew retail sales are going to get hammered. People are not going out as much. So that was going to be down. and it was down tremendously. And they all say these initial figures today, and then it takes them like a month or two to actually report, and we actually get to see what the data is. So it's not even worth speculating whether it's down 30 or 50 or 60 or 40 or whatever it is. The retail sales are down significantly, right? And of course, a huge part of it was COVID. A huge part of it was, instead of like 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe even like 6 years ago, the sales would actually start the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and then they would go to Cyber Monday or whatever. Now it's like they're starting like 3 weeks early. And so that's sucking a tremendous amount of oxygen out of like the sales atmosphere. So that was a big thing to do with it. And I saw that, and I thought those stats were crazy. And then one other further interesting one is that people are going a lot more to the big stores that sell everything, the Targets, the Walmarts, because they can get a little food, they can get toilet paper, they can get a toy, this, that, and the other. Less so sort of to the detriment of going to the smaller sales. And I think those are important facts, because as we talk big picture about art sales, photography sales, and where those are going, so much of the gallery sales revolve around foot traffic. I went to this other store. Ooh, I saw this cool piece of art in a window. I'm going to go and get it, right? Um, but those are just, yeah. If there are many galleries left in business after this is all said and done, it is going to be an amazing fact to me. It's terrifying. It's really sad to see. Yes, I think eventually the shows and the fairs, which we advocate for pretty strongly for a number of reasons, will come back, but it's going to be a while. And I think if I've got anything to say big picture, it's like COVID is doing some terrible things, right? Like, I'm not making light of it, but you try to see the good in a bad situation. And if you're an artist or a photographer that's attempting to sell their work direct to customers, which we advocate, um, there's never been a better time to do it, because e-commerce adoption is at just like these extraordinary rates. All of the normal offline places that you would potentially buy art or photography in galleries, in the fair, the show and fair circuit, it's all gone. It's all gone. There's just no other way to buy it except directly from the artist right now. And then you couple on top of that the fact that everyone's spending more time in their home, not going back to work. That's not changing anytime soon, and it continues to present the perfect storm. So, as I've looked at our data, we're going to break every single solitary record we've ever had today. Um, I can already see it. I've been like probably refreshed the little thing that I report like 16 times today already, because I'm so blown away. So I say all that to say it's an incredible, incredible time. It is a massive disruption for what's going on in the art and photography industry. There's never been a better time for you guys to be able to sell direct, not have any type of 50-50, 60-40, 70-30 split nonsense. The downside being you have to do some marketing. You have to do some marketing to get some attention, and that's sort of the world that we're in right now. But it's amazing. It's amazing what it portends, and I think it's just incredible. So, okay, that was a bit of a long-winded rant, but I'm just, God, I'm just so pleased. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I started the call earlier, and it was like, how many of you guys are on sale right now? And I'm just telling you, you need to be on sale right now. Okay, right now, from right now till Christmas. The largest piece of advice that we're offering to every single solitary one of our customers essentially is, look, you don't you don't have to get a whole lot right, as long as you don't get a whole lot wrong, or you'll get this one thing wrong. Be on sale from now till Christmas. Period. Full stop. End of sentence. And I want to. I actually, I'm going to do this as a final, and then we'll get into the questions. But I wanted to show you this, and so I have this analogy, okay, about sales, and the analogy is, and I'll give it quickly. You guys are all fishermen, right? And everyone that's in business trying to sell their art or photography is fishermen. And what you tend to think as fishermen is that you drive your boat out into the ocean, and your sail is that line you throw in the water. And the sort of the mental thing that we get stuck in is that we think, oh, hey, we've got our sail in the water. That means every fish in the sea saw it. Okay. Every fish in the sea saw it. So you're going to keep it in the water for a few minutes, and then you're going to take it out. Maybe you had a Black Friday sale, or you had a pre-Black Friday sale, or maybe you've got a sale right now, Cyber Monday. And the fallacy in that is that not all the fish, i.e., your potential buyers, are at the surface at the exact same time. They never saw your first email. They never saw your first sale. They never saw the Facebook post. They never saw the Instagram post. The only thing that matters is that you have something in the water when the fish does come to the surface, because that's the only time that you can catch them. And I was looking at this earlier, and it totally made me laugh. So I like Google. I like their products. Okay. And, I've got like one of these little smart houses. It's one of these things I nerd out on. It's probably a terrible idea. They're listening to everything I say. It's probably just biggest bonehead mover ever, but I like the stuff nonetheless. Okay. So I want to get things out of the way. I want to just show you the subject lines and show you this to prove a point. Black Friday came early. Okay. Black Friday bright and early. So in this upper left-hand box, they always have the one thing that's on sale. And then as you go down, there's all the other things. And so there it is, Black Friday bright and early. Then Black Friday lasts all weekend. This was the second one they sent. The only thing that they're changing is what's in this upper left-hand box here, okay? Otherwise, all the exact same products, all the exact same deals. Black Friday lasts all weekend. Cyber Monday, they're going to change it up, right? A Monday worth waiting for. Make your Monday count. Last chance. Okay, they switched up this box, maybe a few of the others. All the same products, all the same deals. They ran the same deal for all days, just went through it and through it and through it. And there you go, right? Like there's Google doing it. I have like probably 100 other examples that I could go through and sort of diagnose in the various different boxes. But it's sort of just amazing to see how it's all gone. So anyway, I'm done with those rants. I see the questions from Al and Ophir, and then Al and Ophir have their hands up. So why don't we just go in order? It'll be Al first, and then Ophir. Good to see you again. Hope I didn't hack your name this time. I will get into it. So go ahead, Al. You're up first. You'll have to unmute yourself. I'll let you know when you get it. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a site. I'm just looking into it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
I got lots of photography. Okay,
Yep.
I've been taking it for a long time. How do I really know what to put up, and actually is it good enough to put up?
Yep.
So
Great questions. So you're looking for validation, and the question you're trying to answer more succinctly is, will your work sell? Will your work sell
absolutely,
to people that are not friends
absolutely,
and family? Yeah. So when you've never attempted to sell, that's what I'm assuming. Have you ever attempted to sell it or no?
no,
No, and that's okay. So what I would do is I would comb through the archive that's readily available, right? Like don't feel like you need to go into negatives from 20 years ago or go digging on 6 hard drives you have buried in the attic or something like that. But go through, your recent stuff that you have, pick out what you think are your 25 to 50 best sellers, okay? And I would start with that, and if you can only come down to like 25 best sellers, and obviously you haven't sold any, so it's just you making a value judgment on the ones you like the best, right? Or the ones that you've gotten the most feedback, or the ones that you think would be the best, because early on you don't know what you don't know. Um, and then what you want to do is you want to figure out some sort of way to get some eyeballs onto that product to see whether or not you can sell them, right? Now, what I recommend is that you narrow it down maybe even a little bit further than that and actually get some prints made so you have something to show. I've been a broken record on this for quite some time when I have an entire stack of them right here. I normally go through this whole merchandising pitch, which I might do. But the key is that you need to show the finished product, which is not a 2D image, but is actual, like the finished product, a print of some kind that's ready to hang, and see if you can get anyone to buy it, right? Pre-COVID times, my advice would have been go and get a booth at a local farmer's market or a local fair or a local show. That's become a lot less viable, much harder to do depending on where you are. So the next best thing to do is attempt to do this on Facebook or Instagram, because that's where all the eyeballs are. That's where all the attention is. And you say, Al, hey guys, many of you know I've been a service photographer for 30 or 40 years, whatever the period of time is. I've built up this incredible archive over that time of fine art. And given COVID, I'm attempting to see if I can sell it and make a business out of it. To do that, I need to see whether or not some people would actually like to buy the work, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of pieces, and this is just inevitable. Give me one sec. So what I've done is I got some of my work printed out on acrylic. I've got some of it printed out on wood. I've got some of it printed out on metal. Show the metal, and some on canvas, right? And Al, if you don't have any fans or followers on Facebook or Instagram and you haven't been doing it, but you do have an email list from your service-based photography, I'm assuming you've been doing service-based, then you can start with that, right? But show off a couple of pieces, show what they look like on canvas, show that it's ready to hang, and Say, hey, I'm launching this business. Something like this would normally sell for X. I'm willing to let it go for this. Let me know. You can send me a message, send me an email, send me a text message if you have my phone number. I take PayPal, Venmo, and checks, and see what happens.
So when you say show it to, so you're doing a live show? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I would do a live show, 100%. But you could also, your camera is a digital SLR. I'm sure it does videos too. Like if you've got an email list. I mean, have you been, what type of photographer have you been? Service-based of some kind?
Uh, what was the question
Are you
again?
are you a
Is it a-
service-based photographer? Is that like the day job, or has it just always been a hobby?
Um, well, I'm retired, so
Oh, you're retired now.
it's yeah. So I guess it's service based, but I mean, I have a lot of photography from all the travel I've done
Ah,
over
okay.
the years. To Hawaii, to
Right.
you know Caribbean, to New Zealand, within California. I live in Arizona now, so
Yep.
there's lots of sunsets and whatever's okay.
Got it.
Um, so I just got a big mix of stuff. Then I also have pictures that are kind of where I've traveled, and I'll call it Americana, the Route 66 type stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then I have actuals of surfing and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I got this big mess of pictures. They're all, and then I've been reprocessing them now, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot of good comments from my little circle of friends, but um, I don't know if they'll sell.
Yep.
And I don't want to put in a whole bunch of money on the site, and then
No, I
I'm,
know,
I'm
no,
not going to
no,
go out
no,
to
no,
farmer.
no. You
I'm
you.
not going to go out to a farmer's market and sell. Okay, I don't want to do that.
Yep.
I want to just sell it all on the website, or on the computer
Do you
type thing.
have do you have a Facebook page or an Instagram account with some following on it, or a personal Facebook page?
Yes, I have a Facebook page, and I also have a Alan Gar photography page that I don't pay lately, have not paid a
Yep.
lot of
No,
attention
understood.
to. So
Understood.
it's kind of a mess right now.
Understood. Yeah. So I mean, the best I can tell you is exactly what I would do in your shoes. I would grab my phone, which you clearly have. I would click go live. I would show the pieces off exactly like I just did. Walk through them. Say here's what they are. Here's what they cost. I know everybody's stuck in their home. I've got this great photography that I've been collecting my entire life. Just want to see if anybody's interested. If so, make me an offer. See what happens. Then you don't have to leave your house. You don't have to go to any farmer's market, and you can give it a shot without even putting a website together.
So I opened the my Facebook page to everybody. Is that
Well, your
the
Facebook
way to do, not just? I mean, I
every
got lots of friends,
yeah,
but I don't know that they're going to buy anything. But
exactly. You don't
yeah,
you don't know until you try, right? That's the whole point of the,
right.
the the scenario. Like you'll never know unless you give it a shot. Now, ideally, you want to sell it to people not named like close personal friend or family, right? But you can certainly
Right.
start with close personal friend or family, give them a great deal, and see if the pieces move, right? You might
Mhm.
move those
Yeah.
pieces right out of the gates, and you get emboldened, and then you're like, okay, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to give it a go.
Okay.
Well, I'm not getting. I'm not seeing a lot of motivation out of you on that one. Are you like,
No,
well,
yeah, no, I'm just, I'm confused to what I should do. I mean, do I want, I mean, I print pictures, and I just print like 40 of them for my son to put up in his house because he's
yes,
doing a whole wall.
amazing,
Okay.
amazing. Show those off.
So,
Show those
yeah,
off.
so, they're in frames type thing.
Done.
Uh,
Yep. But that's it. I mean, like, look, it's take it out of the photography world, right? Because the emotion comes into it. It's like, okay, if you're a farmer and you grow these incredible almonds and you're wondering if somebody would like to buy the almonds, you have to figure out somewhere to sell them. I don't care if it's the side of the freeway. I don't care if it's the farmer's market. I don't care if you go into the town square by yourself. But you've got to attempt to sell them to figure out whether or not they'll sell, right? That's it. So you could even not order any prints. You could go live on Facebook, or if you have an email list, you could email your email list, right? Or if you don't want to do any of that, then you have to somehow get to some sort of marketplace where you can sell them, and see whether or not they will. If they sell, then you've got a product the market wants, and you move into active marketing. That's it. But what I'll do in the show notes is I've recommended this to a tremendous amount of people over a period of time, and it works. And a lot of people have done it to great success. And it's one of these steps that you just have to take to validate that your work will sell, and it's an important one to do. So In the show notes that we send you after the fact, it'll be an email. There'll be a link to a couple of people that have done this exact thing. You can see the video of how they did it. You can decide whether or not, you asked your son to borrow a couple of those things off his wall and don't even order any prints and just show those off, or whether you want to get your own ready to go. You can sell them framed, not framed, however you like to do it. But you got to just be able to do it that way.
Can you show them just um, electronic?
You could, but
It's
it's
not framed, but just
yeah.
a picture of the, what the print would look like. I mean,
You
what the
could,
print is.
you could, but if I hired you to sell knives door to door, okay, I'm like, Al, you're gonna work for me. You're gonna go selling knives door to door. Would you take a catalog of pictures of knives, or would you walk in there with the knives?
No, I'd walk in there with the knives.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
in
if I
that
was asking you
situation.
to sell prints, would you show me pictures of 2D images, or would you show the actual prints? Same thing, right?
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah,
It's the same thing because you're not selling a 2D image. You're selling something that hangs on a wall, right? It is a
right.
physical object. People need to be able to see it, touch it, and taste it. Now, obviously, you're not going to be able to do that because it's COVID. It's not going to be in person. But the next best thing that you can do is showing it on video. Yeah, and there's April put the link in the chat, but we'll also send it to you after the fact.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I appreciate these videos you're just talking about. If I could see what other people have done, and I assume you do the little show here before you actually build. I mean, I have my own website right now, but I'd have to build a new website for, the selling type thing.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
see.
everyone wants to complicate it and think you need a site in the immediate short term, and you just don't, right? Like if you have a PayPal account and you have an address, you can take checks and you can take PayPal or you can take Venmo,
Right.
right? So all you need to be
Yeah.
able to do is show it and then take payment. So that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you.
Thanks. Congratulations on retirement. Okay, Ophir, you're up next. Go ahead, Ophir.
Hey, Patrick, can you
How's
hear
it?
me?
Yeah, how's it going, man? How did the New York show finish out?
Okay, great. I mean, so I took your advice. I did the flash sale
Yeah,
like
yeah,
right before the show opened.
yep.
We got one sale and then turned that into four.
Mm-hmm.
So that was uh, surprising and awesome,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then that rolled into some sales that came shortly after. And I took your advice and you challenged me to have to set up as many video walkthroughs of this,
Yes,
right? Like
yes,
one-on-ones, right?
yes.
So I tried to schedule a bunch. I actually only scheduled one
Mm-hmm.
in the end, but it worked out and it led to a sale. So,
Boom. There you go.
right. So like small win to slow win. And like you were saying about, the ROI being like an audience of one. So
Yep.
just been surprised and, happy to see the results of everything that you've, been talking about and been listening to the podcast a lot too. And just scheduled my demo call, right?
Very cool.
So I have this question, and I'm kind of nervous about angering you, but
No, don't
because I
worry.
heard you talk about things. But here it comes, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, there's that high art world
Yes,
approach to things, right?
yes.
And I know you talk about it a lot, and it's in a way disempowering for artists, right? And I'm totally on board with that, right? And at the same time, there's some value in it, right? That's the game that I've been playing for a long time, like in New York City, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the question I have about like to be able to utilize these tools, the techniques, the strategies, everything that you're offering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And still maintain that possibility, right? So that's why my question had to do like something very specific with the website, right? Like if you go to all these high art websites, all these galleries, almost none of them display prices anywhere, right? And
Yeah.
you talk about reducing friction, and that the whole game is the opposite. Like it's almost in a way maximizing friction, right? So like who gets to see the prices, who's gonna, right, all that
For sure.
stuff. So um, if in the desire to make it possible to sell these originals online, right? Not just like I'm not going to have a show every month, right? In
Yeah.
New York City, I have to
Yeah.
do the thing, right? So in order to move that online, but at the same time maintain that, um, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's kind of elitist, right? But whatever, that's what it is, right? So the idea was to maybe just show the work online, but then if you join the mailing list, then you get a link to where the prices are and full thing, the
Yeah,
the whole.
I know exactly where you're coming from. I know
That makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm
yeah.
really curious to hear like what you have to say about this question. Even though I've been kind of afraid to ask it for a while, but I
No,
have to.
no, 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 no. You shouldn't be afraid at all. I mean, here's what I would say, and I've been down this road, right? And I'm not going to dissuade you from the road. I'm just going to talk about it with the facts that I have available to me. One, it is a very, very small list of artists that actually get to that stage of the game, right? Full stop. That's number one. Number two, there's a couple of different triggers that sort of differentiate them from everyone else, and we can sort of break down what some of those are. Three, if I was the genie came out of the bottle, right? And I would say, I want to be one of these high level artists. I want my own Wikipedia page. I want to be listed on artsy.net. I don't even want to have my own art on my own website. I want to have it on someone else's website because that's what they all seem to do, right? Or if they do have a website, they're just showing things and contact my representation, right? The,
Right.
the currency is attention still, right? It's just attention. So they've all somehow figured out how to get enough attention, sell enough pieces to get to that level, right? So even if I know exactly where you're at, and we've got other artists on our platforms that are doing the exact same thing right now, your shortcut to getting there is still attention, right? It's still
Uh-huh.
attention. It's always going to be attention. So I get like the contrast between balancing, you know, balancing this e-commerce merchant discounts, doing all of that world with being like super high end, only focused on the high. But for me, and what I see, the quickest path to get there is still how much you're selling and how much attention you have, right? Because ultimately every gallery is going to want to represent you if you're kicking butt with your own marketing and you got there on your own. Otherwise, the odds are extremely small that you would. It's a very, very small club, right? So I would say you can still aspirationally have that as the goal. But if you do, your quickest way there is how much you're kicking butt on your own marketing. Because the more you're kicking butt on your own marketing, the bigger the galleries that you get into, the bigger the galleries you get into, the quicker you get an agent, the quicker you get an agent, the quicker you get articles written, the quicker you have something to cite on a Wikipedia page. Then, what I would do is I would start with the route that I'm advocating, and then I would pull it all down once you get there, and no one will remember that you were ever doing the other, right? So it's essentially a way to hedge yourself along the way. You're saying like, I want to sell as much art as possible, but I also want to cater myself to this high end art and photography world and everything that represents. And I still think you can get there. I just think the shortcut to getting there is how much attention you have and how much you're marketing yourself. That's what I think.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what you say sounds right on. The question I have then very specifically is how to utilize what you're talking about to get there. How to utilize that along the way, right? Like exactly as outlined with the prints and all that, and the flash sales and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
or is this idea of putting the prices? Because you did say something on one of the recent podcasts or webinars about there was a guy who was asking about commissions or selling pieces that were basically $2,000 and above, right?
Yes.
And you said something about that being like, if you're gonna don't he was asking if he could just do it all automated on the back end of the website, and you were like, yes, but you can on our storefronts. But let me tell you something, you're going to have a conversation anyway once you get to that price point, right?
Yep.
So that made me think like, if I'm going to have that conversation anyway at that price point, is there a harm to putting that on that, making that on the back end of the website? Like,
No, yeah, not necessarily, not necessarily. Um, you could play the hide the price game on everything, right? And just attempt to have as many phone conversations as possible. I think that's totally a worthwhile test. I do think, what Ophir is essentially referencing is there's like an unspoken law of internet commerce that once you reach a certain price point, and it's not something like a Tesla, right, or like an electric scooter that you've read 1,000 CNET reviews on or whatever, and you know what it is, and you know you're not going to get hosed, you could potentially buy it. But once you hit a certain price point on everything else, you sort of expect to have a phone conversation to go with it, right? You want to talk to somebody about it, feel good about your purchase. You're spending a ton of money. And so that exists in the software world. That just exists in like the internet commerce world, period. And so what Ophir is referencing is, we see a number of customers that are high up there in price point, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100, where they're consultatively selling everything that they sell straight up, meaning they're getting on the phone. They're getting on the phone with the prospective clients. And so, you know, you could play with the showing prices, the not showing prices. And look up here. It's very easy to test that, number one. And then number two, like, we have this premise that we operate at Art Storefronts, which is an important one growing a business. I'll share it here. You ask yourself if something is a reversible decision. Okay. If it's a reversible decision, then it's not going to hurt you to make it because you can reverse it at any time, right? So just make the decision right away, ship it, and see how you do. If it's not reversible, those are the ones that you want to spend a ton of time thinking about, right? So you could get started, get selling your product, get online, pull all the prices off your website, give it a shot for 6 months and see how it goes. It's completely reversible. And then you can go back to the other one for 6 months and see how you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And then see where you are down the line. In the meantime, you're working consistently on the marketing, and we're good at that because you put some of it to use and it's worked, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's why I wanted to check with you on that, because basically, like, I wanted to ask you this question, to ask if you felt it was valuable to do it that way, or if it was one of those questions where you're just like, where some people are asking you certain questions that you just shut them down, and
no, not in the slightest. Yeah, not in the slightest. Yeah, not in the slightest. I think the odds of making it into that world are really, really small. But I don't think you have to decide. Like, it's going to be more than just any one thing, right? It's not going to be a lucky break. It's going to be like your style, how good you are at marketing yourself, whether you've got that right? Whatever that is, to get out there. Because
too. I mean, it all. Agreed. That's why what I feel like what you're offering at our storefronts is so important, right? Because you can take control of it, and I feel like that's the fact that the other way is so disempowering I mean, you've said it yourself, but disservice to all of us, right? But at the same time, if I want to play that game, that's the question for you. So you're saying, like, if it's you can set up the art storefront site that way, do the romance marketing, do the things without the prices being right up front and center.
Yes.
Try it out.
Yes.
See if you think there's a value in that.
So yeah, see if it works and see if it doesn't. I think you're sort of doing like your own different sales funnel, right? Like, instead of what you sell on your website, the only metric that matters to you is how many appointments on video are you booking with potential collectors on a weekly, monthly basis, right? And that's what you'd be going for. And you could totally do that. Either way, you need to be doing more focused and constructive marketing all year long for the next umpteen years, right? And there's no shortcut to that period. So you got to get going on that part regardless. That's what I'd say.
Right. Okay. So you could set up the site. Like, basically on the surface of it, it would kind of be like a portfolio site, right?
Yep.
And utilize the whole commerce part of it on the back end, so the prices are available and make it easier for people to purchase it. But probably once they see the prices, you're going to a phone call and
or experiment with like all the visualization tools and then just don't list the price, period. Right? And just throw the standard issue big league inquire for pricing.
Wait, so you mean like the live?
So it still makes a ton of sense to have the site set up like an e-commerce buying situation so people can look at it and visualize it on the walls. I mean, I know that's like, maybe not what you see on Damien Hirst's site, right? But at the same time, you could do that and then just not show any pricing, period. Just don't show it. Inquire for prices, right? And then you can see about getting on the phone. But yeah.
The thing about that, though, is when you just leave it like that, people don't inquire, right? So you got to go after, like you were talking about, lead gen. I have an Instagram and a Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
But it's typical, like what you've spoken about before, right? There's hundreds of artists following me and art world insiders, and like it's not a huge following, but all those people, they're generally speaking, they're not the leads that you want for selling the work, right? They're in it for the love of the game or whatever, right?
Yep.
So the method for getting the right people into the ecosystem, right? That involves these flash sales and these discounts and stuff. If you're not listing the prices, how do you play that end of the art storefronts game? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think you're overthinking it, right? Like, you're thinking that everyone's going to see the way that you're doing things and instantaneously go, okay, that's it. Ophir's not in the game. He's not going to be one of these big dogs, right? And what I'm saying is that you need 100,000 people on your email list, not 500, right? You need 1 million followers on Instagram, not 1,000, right? And there's no shortcut to that. You can do whatever you want once you have it, right? You can go up and down the stack wherever you want to be, but there's no shortcutting to having the attention and the eyeballs on your stuff, right? And so, in contrast to whether you even use the website at all or you just stay in a portfolio, having the marketing tutelage and being on the plan consistently is the best thing that you can do right now. Full stop. You got to get the attention of here. There's no shortcut to it, right?
So even just using the Art Storefront's website, like I'm using my Squarespace one, not taking advantage of any of that commerce side of things, but just following your marketing program.
Or
Yeah.
have it all on there, but just don't
Uh-huh.
show it publicly until you've got them on a video call, right? You got a number of
Right.
different ways you can play it. I think
Okay.
you'll eventually come around and you'll sell direct, you know, and you'll probably do it for the next 5 to 6 years, and then you'll make a decision: is this working for me, or do I feel like I want to take the next level? And then at that point in time, 5 or 6 years after I've got you marketing consistently for all that time, then you'll probably pull down the prices, go full portfolio, but you'll have attention to market too. You'll have agents knocking on your door and everything else, right? You don't get you don't get there just magically, for sure, right? Like you're gonna have to grind it out one way or the other, and no one will care if you were selling stuff. You certainly do not need to worry about it being off-putting to like one little art critic or one little someone else that's in your following right now, right? It doesn't matter.
All right, man. All right. Well, hopefully I'll be back as a customer, back on these calls, asking you questions
I
about how to
love
take
it.
it.
I love it that you do it. I'm surprised more people don't take advantage. So if you're actually like listens to the podcast, goes and puts the stuff in practice, and then will come on and talk to me from time to time, be like, hey, I want to get some feedback on this. It's good. It's good for my ego, because I feel like, okay, am I actually giving any value on this damn thing? Like, why isn't anyone
Oh,
taking me up
for
on it,
sure.
right?
No, for sure, Patrick. I appreciate it a lot, and I definitely hope to be back with I'm gonna try this thing like you're saying, and I know it's a little bit off the beaten path of the Art Storefronts method, but I'm gonna try it. And
Mhm.
you know what? If you're right, and I end up doing exactly like you said, hey man, that's great too. Like I would love to see that
Yeah.
kind of success, no matter how it came. But we all have our like the bag is you're unclogging the drain slowly, I guess, on this one. If that's
That's how
you know,
that's how it goes sometimes. That's how it goes.
all right, man.
Are you on sale right now, Ophir?
Oh man, I'm no, I'm
The
sorry.
single solitary biggest days of commerce in the entire year in COVID times. And start it today. Start it today. Today. It doesn't even matter what it is. Get something in the water. Say, I almost missed it. I almost missed it. And it's going to be from now till Friday.
Okay, without the website.
Yes, without the website. Go put it in sale right now. Post on Instagram, post on Facebook. You're on sale. Yeah, I know I'm sort of late to the Cyber Monday party. Giddy up. Let's go.
Till Friday. All right, man.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. I'll report back.
Report back. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot, Patrick.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, Mary Ramdan, you're up. And then we have a crazy sale running, so I'll talk about our sale too. How you doing? You have a good Thanksgiving?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
I was mostly just listening until you said just now about you wonder if these bits of information are really helping people.
Mhm.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I have to make a comment now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was very interesting to hear, because I don't know if I'm being silly or overdone about it or whatever, but because of my name, I really don't want to be like bargain basement, target level, or,
Yeah,
Dollar
you don't
Tree.
have to be. You don't have to be.
Yeah, I just feel it's appropriate for it to be, and since I want it to be a really quality product on, the best papers and custom framing and things like that and stuff. And so that's, like I feel like that warrants a higher price point, not, through the roof, but just something, like not.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an easy thing. It's like a normal thing that people get stuck up on, right? It's like you need to sell. You need to sell, and you want to sell for the highest price that you can. So you've got multiple different levers there. Are you selling? What's the price? Like, and, you come into the sweet spot that works for you. But you got to move. You
Yeah.
got to move the product.
Yeah, and so I was really listening to that last bit of points and everything that you're making, but I really thought that was very interesting. I even wrote it down about booking appointments with potential clients. I like selling. I always
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And I enjoy talking with people. That seems to work better for me than sitting there and trying to write something out or whatever. And so I'm a talker.
Yeah.
And so, but again, I'm still trying to figure out ways to be in art storefronts and stuff. And as it stands, haven't been in a position yet where I'm selling enough or whatever
Yep.
to be able to get it. So I said, well, I like that idea about trying to book appointments with potential clients and just talk to them, because then I'm able to really explain this is why this is this way, or these are features as to this finished piece, the framing, the print, the style, the whatever and stuff. And I like that. Can you explain a little more about because that's part of my problem is, like you mentioned, I don't have even 1,000 on my Instagram
No,
page
for sure. I mean, the
because I'm
the
approaching
larger
100.
part, and we're sort of getting two things combined into one. But the larger point is,
Hmm.
especially when you're small and you're just getting going, you're willing to
Yeah.
sell in person to anyone, right? Because you're just trying to get the thing off the ground. And so,
Yeah.
if you get a message that comes in on Instagram, and offer to get on a video chat and talk about it, show the pieces off, right? Like if you get an email, respond to it and
Hmm.
say, hey, the difference between media types can be confusing. I'm happy to jump on a video chat and talk about it, right? We call them hand-to-hand combat opportunities. People get in their
Okay.
heads that they need to have this website with all of this stuff on it, and then people are magically going to come and purchase things and not talk to them or not want an email or not understand who the artist is. And it happens that
Yeah.
way sometimes, but it's not it's not the norm until you're putting yourself out there in marketing and everything else. So it's not
Mhm.
some magical marketing technique that's going to, if I just do the video consultations, you do everything you can early on, right? If you can get somebody on the phone, talk about your art, you talk about the art, right? Like it's retail politics, right? It's kissing babies and shaking hands everywhere you go, right? Like that's what it takes early on to get going and get it rolling. So that's what I would
Mhm.
focus on. It's not some sort of additional extra marketing technique or tactic that's going to work. Like just be really responsive
Okay.
and be willing to talk to anybody about the art at any time.
Now, any other suggestions as to ways to just kind of get more people, more eyes, or I don't know, just suggestions on ways that I can kind of because I've been actively trying to get in, reach out to more people and things like that. But any
Good.
suggestions on that? So because
Do it
my
all consistently for years. I know no one ever wants to hear that part, but it's so true. It's so true, right? Like that's the marketing game. Like you grow your Instagram following, you grow your email list. If you have opportunities to get into physical things, COVID aside, do that as well, right? Like, you early on, you got to just you got to hammer down on everything you can do and really try to get scrappy with things, and that's how it goes. So
okay,
you just stay at it. You stay at it, Mary. I'm confident in you.
yes, sir.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Okay, Amzie, you're up next. Go ahead, Amzie.
Yeah, my my kind of question is, I've been thinking about that. What happened was I didn't have any shows or nothing because I just got swamped with commissions,
Yes.
and all I've been selling is originals, no print. So I'm thinking that maybe when I come on, I should just sell prints, posters, whatever it takes, and just not put originals on there. That's my quick question.
I think
What's
I,
your
I
thought?
think I think you should sell all of it, especially early on. And one, I love a business that's got price point variance, everything from the cheaper stuff to the expensive stuff and everything in between, right? Because everyone's followers are a bell curve, and this is just the true nature of the game. And the bell curve starts out, and it has the people that have no money whatsoever, right? And they're not ever going to be able to buy things from you. Then the bell goes up, and you have lower, middle, upper middle class, and then the bottom right. Let's say you have the high net worth individuals, right? They each want a different product, right? They each want to buy a different thing, right? So if you have the offerings for everybody, um, you're going to get people that are buying at every single salt trade price point. And we integrated, and I thought this was a terrible idea. I really hated it. I really recommended it against it. This is okay, full disclosure. But we just integrated with this company called Guten, which is basically like a merch company. And so now we're doing postcards and T-shirts and hats and coffee mugs and a whole bunch of these other products. And I'm like, oh God, I hate this stuff. I hate this tchotchke. Like nobody should be selling this. And then I'm looking at the orders over the weekend, and it's like people are selling a tremendous amount of it all already, right? And it's like if you're AMZ, if you're on sale only with prints and let's just say only commissions, right? And your prints start at like $175, you actually have a lot of people that love you, love what you do, but they don't have that right now. They got $25 to spend, or they got $20 to spend, right? And so they wanna like tell you they love you and buy something, but they can't afford the expensive stuff. So what they do is they go in and buy that lower end stuff, right? And then those sales eventually turn into bigger ones. So I like the price point variance, whether or not I like the merch or not, TBD. But it does offer a nice variance. And so you want to be on sale with all of that stuff, right? And conversely, you want to have something really, really expensive in your shop too. Why? Because guess what happens? Some people, 10 cents to you and I is less, well, the other way around. $1,000 to you and I is like 2 cents to them, right? So they want to buy something with some prestige, right? And so, you know, if they want something with some prestige, then you better have something for sale, because somebody just might say, boom, I'll take it. So I think that's where I go with it.
Okay. So yeah, I was thinking, the reason I was thinking maybe just selling prints is because I'm swamped with original orders and selling originals.
Hey,
So
first world problems, Amzy. Raise prices.
I
Raise
know.
prices on those guys, right? Yeah. These are really, really good problems to have, right? Like, you know, these are absolutely what you want to have. And, you know, you can just take backups, right? Like, I'm too busy to paint right now, but I'll be ready to go again in Q2, and you get this delivery. I'm taking deposits right now.
Oh,
right? Like,
okay.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, good problems to have. You have a good Thanksgiving, Amzy?
I want to see.
Good. Yeah, good. I'm glad you did.
Me too, huh?
Yeah, mine was awesome too. Okay. I'm muting you, Amzy. So one of the things that we're doing, and this might not apply to all of you, but I know we're doing our own Cyber Monday sale, which is sort of a big deal. It is, April will put in the demo request link. So if you're contemplating signing up at all, you should definitely tell them, like, hey, I heard about this Cyber Monday deal, which is a big deal, which I think actually includes they'll build the website for you, so you don't even have to do that work, period. But what are we calling it? I'm looking it up right now. Cyber Monday sale. 5 years included in the package, which is like an incredible deal. So if you are interested in joining, we have a deal that literally expires today. So I think it's a big one. So anyway, wanted to say that. I'll deal with Wesley's question, and then I'll come back. And the other thing is, we actually started our own in-house marketing agency, which is pretty interesting. And so the agency handles like all sorts of things that, you know, I know our customers don't want to do. And I have a love-hate relationship with the agency, because I want every artist and photographer to learn how to properly market themselves selfishly, right? That's what I do. I love marketing. But we've sort of gotten into this situation now where it's like, you know, a lot of our customers they have full-time jobs, and this is a side hustle, right? And they're trying to grow it into more than a side hustle, and they don't have time to do this, the that, and the other. So we have like a bunch of little boutique services that we think that we can just do faster and better, all the way up to like Facebook ads and running sales and tuning up your Instagram or tuning up your Facebook. So there's a bunch of that going on right now, and that's some incredible growth and really a pretty fun thing. We might actually start selling them. I mean, I think, and I don't believe this is hyperbole, I think we already in 4 months have the biggest art and photography marketing specific agency in the world, and just based on clients served, which is pretty cool, right? And it's basically just taking all of my marketing teaching and my team's teaching and putting it into action for the customer. So pretty fired up about that. All right, Wesley, you're up. And then Patrick, I see you in the chat. I'll answer you. How you doing, Wesley? You have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm doing well.
Good.
Welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I've been head down on a couple of projects. So
Yeah, you know what I think you're working on?
what do you think I'm working on?
I think you're working on a buyout by Shopify, you guys, back to the point you just made.
No
Why
way.
not, right?
No way. They're so big. We are, pardon my French, not even a small fly on the rhino's ass in that situation as big as Shopify is. But
at some point, these big guys want to go vertical, and why not you guys, right?
they
But anyway,
yeah, they tried. Someone else tried earlier on, but we've got no intentions. I don't like and the founder especially doesn't like the you know, the dream of you start a business and 3 years later you sell it for $100 million. It's not how it works. You build it up, and we have big aspirations for this thing, and we're kicking butt right now. But I like the question nonetheless.
And there's a good reason for that. So
yeah,
and this answer to my question will probably prove that. So you guys have all along been very generous with your competitors about you know, the gallery still being a viable place eventually to restart reselling fine art in.
Yep.
Or the shows, right? They're not. Yep. At some point, will probably bounce back. You guys have always been very charitable about that, even though I guess you could say they're your direct competitors.
Yeah, I mean, we don't feel that way, right? Like I don't. I'm old now, okay, and I've started and grown many businesses. I know how damn hard it is. I know how damn hard it is to get any revenue source working. Okay, when you do, the last thing that you want to do is ignore that revenue source that's working. I.e., if your gallery is selling in a gallery, fine, or i.e., if the show and fair circuit is working for you. The problem I have is doing that in lieu of building something no one can take away from you. Right? If COVID's taught us anything, out of nowhere this thing came and ripped the rug out from everyone, right? Nicholas Nassim Taleb calls them black swan moments. I don't think it's necessarily a black swan moment, or maybe he says this COVID is not. But the larger part is you want to be in command of your own destiny. Okay. How are you in command of your own destiny? You own your own attention. You do your own marketing. You keep as much of the sale revenue as possible. So you grow, and they're trains on different tracks, right? Like your gallery train can be a train on a track. You're growing your own business where you own everything could be a train on its own track. Your show and fair circuit could be on its own track. But if this all goes away, 3 years from now, and people just go back to the fairs and they just go back to the galleries, and then COVID 2.0 hits and you have nothing, like that's wrong. That's no way to be, right? So it should not be in lieu of, it should be in addition to those additional revenue sources. And that's really the official position.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think you're right on with that, Patrick.
Yeah.
And so here I am scrolling through my Instagram feed today.
Yep.
And I continue to be impressed by the algorithms that are running in the background, deciding what ads to feed me. Right. This
Yep.
This is a reminder that at some point, maybe these ads actually are going to be directed to someone who might be interested in buying what I'm offering in my gallery.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, it struck me, it says winter online show, antiques, folk art, jewelry, decorative, and fine art. Save the dates, December 1st through December 31st. Now that was the clue. Wait a minute. Nobody runs a show for an entire month, but then you read on it says afoshows.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the evil empire is fighting back here, right? And I know I shouldn't label them that way, but obviously they're going to charge a big fee if I want to show my work at this show, and
Yep.
it would be a lot easier than it used to be to set it up. But in any event, is this something that you think might be worth a return on investment? I don't know. I haven't seen one of these yet.
Yeah, you can try. I mean, I'm assuming it's some sort of an online show, and
yeah, it's online. I don't know exactly. What do they do that's any differently what we're doing now with our websites? If you really think about it.
Yeah, I think people will eventually figure it out, Wesley, on how to execute a proper online show. Just because necessity, the mother of invention. From what I've seen so far, most of them have been disasters, and I'm not blaming them for that. I'm just saying they haven't figured out how to go live. They haven't figured out that you need attention. They haven't figured out how to do the pacing and timing with multiple different people in multiple different geographic locations with multiple different internet connections and the software and this and that, right? Like, I've got the battle scars of going through all that, and I don't say that to be, cocky or to knock them about it, but I know they don't. And let me tell you, there's no shortcut, okay? And let me tell you, when you try to do something with that level of tech sophistication, an artist all over the U.S., and you're going to bring them all each on for 5 to 7 minutes so they show and talk about their work, and you haven't thought through the technical debt and headache of that, you're going to get smoked. And I'm not even going to enjoy to watch because I just know it. I know it instinctively. I've had every single solitary text snap. Still do, by the way, still do on a regular basis. So the larger point is the only way it would be worthwhile, okay, for something like that is if they had a massive amount of attention. Kim Kardashian said she was running the show, okay, on her Instagram account. I would be there and I would sign up. I would be first in line because I would have a million eyeballs on my work. If Art Winner Show Form Emporium, and you look at their Instagram page and it's got 37 followers and no engagement and no Facebook page, and they have no one on their email list, then yeah, I don't like the chances. So you have to put it all into perspective. But look, in today's day and age, those things are going to come up, and eventually someone's going to crack it. It's just going to take a while. It's going to take some time. That's all.
Good advice, Patrick. As always, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Wesley. Let me know if you get on board with it, though. I'm always scared to hear about it after the fact. So, okay, Mary, I see you have your hand up again, but Patrick hasn't asked yet, and he's got a question. He says, I paint pop art, and where does ASF come down on that type of art and prints for sale? For example, Marvel, DC, etc. In regards to them not being licensed. My name is Paul, and that's between y'all. Okay, we don't have an official position on that. I think the way that it ends up working is we're not lawyers. That's not our department, Patrick. Whether you have the image rights to this, that, or the other. If I take it a step further than that, I would say that those businesses tend to have a certain ceiling to them. And that ceiling is usually a tremendous amount of volume being sold, in which case you'll usually get a lovely little letter from a lawyer along the lines of so-and-so Patrick, cease and desist. But you could fly under the radar for years and years and years. And in some cases, they never care at all because they see it as, rightfully so in many cases, just promotion of their brand. So we don't have an official position on it. We don't care. You can do it. You can do what you want. If you were selling a bunch of that stuff and they sent you a takedown notice and you said pound sand, and then their lawyer sent us a takedown notice, well, then we would probably take it down. But other than that, we don't care. And that's sort of our MO on the situation. So yeah, that's what I would say. All right, go ahead, Mary.
I deeply apologize. You made me laugh before, and whatever I was going to ask is totally gone out of my brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm keeping you off center. If you think about it, again, let me know, and you can ask it another one. Yeah. I mean, and again, Patrick, we have multiple people. Let me just say that are what my dad likes to say, skating on the thin ice. What he used to say. Okay, multiple people. By what I mean, do not have enough hands, fingers, and toes to tell you how many of those people that are doing it. We've got one, and I'm not going to go through anyone's niche, but we've got one. It's a big company that we all know the name of, and he's in some private group, okay, where someone unofficially from the company is like, yeah, we don't care. We think it's helping our brand, right? So really, it's on a case-by-case basis, and there's a tremendous amount you can do, I think, even in the short term to get going on it. And look, as long as you are continuing to build your own attention, you can water ski in one of those niches, and maybe you don't get caught, maybe you do. Maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not. But once you get a couple years down the line, you've got a bunch of people that know you, love your work. It's like, if you have to pivot at that point, you pivot at that point, but you keep rolling, So I think there's, and we actually have, like, one of the cool things that we have, and then Othir, I see your hand again, I'll get you, is we have this private Facebook group, right? Because there's only so much you can hear from the company, right? There's so much you can hear from me, bloviating, or some other guys on my team, and eventually you want to hear it from other artists. And there's actually a subsect of folks that are in Patrick's shoes that they all talk about what goes on in their little world. It's actually pretty fascinating. So there you go. Othir, go ahead. You got a follow up.
Yeah, it's a follow up. So I was taking a look at a bunch of the art storefront sites that they send you before you do the demo, right?
Yes.
And looking at some of those, the top 10 or whatever, those 10 sites.
Sure.
And obviously they each utilize the template a little bit differently, and they portray themselves differently. And my question is about if you have anything to say to us at this point about, personal branding and how you portray yourself. Like, how do you, how I have heard you say be yourself. So I know I'm expecting that to be part of the answer, but also obviously like things are curated, right? Highly curated, like what you're going to show, what you're going to tell people, what aspects of yourself and all of this. And so if you have anything to say about that, about, and if there's a place within art storefronts, because art storefront seems like on the one hand, in a way, it's a template that one size fits all, like everybody can use it, right? But then each person is going to use, it's going to look differently, right? So anything about that, about being intentional about that.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I know where you're going with it. They all look pretty similar by design because they're all meant to replicate the in-person buying experience that happens in an art gallery, right?
Yeah.
And what jumps out at you about an art gallery? It's never anything other than the fact that it has white walls and cool art in it, right? The art is always the product that's on front. How you handle the rest of your branding issues is really what comes through with your email copy, what you post on your socials. Yes, it's a little bit conveyed on your website, but mostly you want everything else to fade away except the art on the website. You want the people to feel like they walked into a retail art gallery and the experience is very, very similar. So that's why there's no silly bells and whistles and none of the nonsense that you see on portfolio sites or none of the ridiculous crap that you paid $10,000 for someone to do on WordPress that you think looks so sweet and doesn't sell a damn thing ever on purpose, right? It's supposed to be a gallery experience. You go into the gallery, yeah, there might be a cool sculpture or a really trendy piece of furniture or a cool bar in the corner, but other than that, it's blank white walls and the art up front, right? The art up front. So the sites are designed that way by design to be utterly, totally, and completely minimalist and try to replicate that experience. So that's what they look like. That's the reasoning for it. But trust me, it's easy to communicate that stuff through your entire package, right? The logo plays a role. What you have on your About Me page plays a role. The opening email sequence plays a role. What you post on the socials plays a role, right? Like all of that collectively is as important as anything on the site, right? The site's just one touch point in the whole ecosystem.
Right. Sounds right on. So the question would shift from like, from the site, which would just be like the white cube gallery, right?
Mhm.
To how you're portraying yourself in all these other places that do count, like in the email, like I signed up for some of their lists, some of the artists that you highlight.
Mhm.
So I got their emails to see how they're doing it,
Mhm.
right? And yeah, they are different. And so the question is, is there anything that you would say to us specifically, like, okay, here's how you could think about portraying this, how you could think about maximizing that possibility, right? Of putting your best foot forward, right? How do we?
Yeah, I think and the thing, I think you're overthinking it, Ophir. I think you're worried about things that are completely unfounded. I really do. I think like, you know, it's sort of like, and I say always be yourself, but like if you and I hung out over a period of 20 times, I know who you are, right? I know who you are. Like we've talked, we've hung out, we've done things, gone to a concert, gotten a couple of beers, do whatever we did, right? Like I know who you are at that point in time. And unless you're doing like a whole big facade or something else. And so if I come to your website, I get emails from you, I look at your Instagram posts, I know who you are at that point, right? Assuming you're being authentic in both cases. So I think you're overthinking it, and you're overthinking that there's going to be any one little thing that's going to make you look super sweet in their eyes. And that's a hard game to play. You just be you execute on your marketing, you do it regularly. Your art's already good, I've already seen it, so you don't have anything to worry about there. Produce more of it, and that's it. That's what you do.
All right, man. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, no worries. Don't overthink it, dude. Don't overthink it. You got to just be you. Okay, Mary, you've got a question, then Patrick's got one in the chat. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay. Now I remember what the question was. You mentioned that you're having a special today and that it's some kind of like five years or something. And I wanted to ask more about that and how much it is and all of that and how that works.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of different ones going on. I think the top plan is probably more than what you're interested in, because I know your situation. You're just getting started and everything else. I think the big dog is 5 years. 5 years, my team will build, like the tech team will build your website for you, get you live, all of it. And I think that one's $5,000. So that's like our very, very, very top plan. And it's a 5-year deal, so it's essentially $1,000 a year, and you're done, but you paid all up front. Anyway, there's still deals.
Those are I froze.
Did I think you froze.
I'm sorry, you froze or I froze. So say that part again.
Yeah, I think you froze. But I think there's other deals that are on sale too. So Mary, if you figure out when you're ready. If you're ready and you're contemplating it, there is a good deal now for sure. But you got to figure your whole situation out.
Yeah, I'm absolutely ready. It's just my finances aren't.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We got to wait till those finances get ready. Thanks. Good question, Patrick. So how many original pieces of artwork do you suggest to have completed when you start at ASF? The minimum is 1. Straight up. I mean, obviously, if you've got like 7 killer ones or 10 killer ones, boom, then you launch with that. But you get in, you get started, you work on your marketing. If you launch with just 1 piece, every additional piece becomes a marketing moment. I really believe that. The larger premise to it is like everyone's like, I will just get launched when I have X amount of pieces. The problem is that minutes turn into hours, turn into days, turn into months. How's that website coming that you're working on? How's that website coming on your work? It never gets launched. No one ever does anything. You got to get going, right? You got to get rolling. And I would assume you see some numbers that are a good jumping point. I have a decent number of Facebook fan subscribers, have a small Instagram following, so I do not have a large enough audience to send to an ASF site. That's all right. We teach you how to build that. Selling originals in the 300 to 500. Good. Just a few sales a month, as I've not pushed it to make it my full-time job yet. Yep. All of that's good, Patrick. Might as well unmute you, by the way. Can you unmute yourself? You'll have to hit the mic icon if you're on the computer, or if the phone. It looks like you're on a computer anyway. If you can get yourself unmuted, I unmuted you. I don't think. Yeah, okay, you're unmuted now. I don't think, Patrick, number one, that you should make it. Oh, kids are at home. That's fine. Mine are too, by the way. Today's sick. Terrible. I don't think you should make it your full-time job until it's paying to be your full-time job, and then some. And even then, I love that you can have a full-time job and make it your side hustle and continue to grow and throw all of that money back into the business. But if you're already selling that many to that range, I think you're probably well and truly validated. You probably just need focused work on your marketing and need to do so consistently for a long, long time. And that's it. And you'll continue to grow that business massive. So that's what I would say. If you sold a bunch of those, to, not people named mom, dad, brother, sister, then I think you're on the track, Patrick. So I would just get going on it. I hope that answered it. But yeah, you have more than enough in place there. And Garrett, the bio should make you, not be phoned in, right? And actually truly be representative of who you are without sounding snobby, arrogant, combative, hidden, right? Like you got it all figured out. Bleed a little bit in it. You know what I mean? I love it when people bleed a little bit in it, like be real, right? But again, step one isn't important that you have one. Step two is, edit it as you go along, right? But just like the advice I give to Ophir, it's not any one thing. It's the sum total of everything. Everyone thinks art sells just by like seeing a 2D image and then they're like, okay, I got to have that. I'm going to go and buy it. No, I want to know who the artist is, right? I want to know what their peccadillos are, right? I want to know that potentially it could be possible that Garrett was getting high on the Zoom call. That's part of his personality. It makes me happy, right? Like now I know him a little bit. Like he's got Lord of the Rings poster. See, I see everything. Like all of that's part of getting to know the artist, right? Like it's an important thing. People don't want to buy art just based on the 2D image. They want to know, they want to have an emotional connection with the artist. And I see this time and time and time again. So you're the brand just as much as the image is, right? You're the brand just as much as the image is. Hence the importance of the bio, hence the importance of, what collectively constitutes the social media post. And especially if you're doing your marketing right, there's a tone in your email address and then the social post and all the rest of it. So it all sort of levels up and layers up. But yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. Anyway, guys, happy Cyber Monday. Got to get back to it. Appreciate you guys all being on the call. Please do join another one. Love to have you aboard. If you do request a demo, tell them I said the Black Friday deal, Cyber Monday deal, which is incredible. And they'll get going. So that's what I would say. Thanks, guys. Everybody, great rest of your day.